friends, welcome back to Cosmopolitan Cornbread. So I thought I would sit down this morning and just share a little bit about me, because there's been a whole lot of new faces that have come here to visit over the past few weeks. And I thought it would be nice to give basically a reintroduction of who I am, how I came to be here, and what you can find here at Cosmopolitan Cornbread. So, my name is Constance, and my husband, who I refer to as Mr. Smith, his name is actually Jeff, but it feels very foreign to me to say that, and so Mr. Smith just kind of naturally came out one day and it stuck. So on video, he is Mr. Smith. In person, he's Honey. But myself and Mr. Smith moved here to the Arkansas mountains last year. We were a military family. My husband was in the Army for 25 years. We met in basic training, and I recently shared a video of that story. I'll put a link to it in the video description down below of exactly how we met. And we've been married a long time. During Army life, of course, we lived all over the place. Texas, Tennessee, Alabama, North Carolina, Germany, Alaska. We just kind of lived all over, because that's as is typical military life. And we have 3 children who are all grown. We have 2 granddaughters who are just such a joy. One of them lives here in Arkansas. Our property has the primary residence, but there's also an apartment here. And when we moved here to Arkansas, beginning of last year, my son and daughter-in-law and first grandchild also moved here. And they are temporarily staying in the apartment. It will be very bittersweet when they eventually move away, because right now I get to spend every single morning with my elder grandchild, who I refer to as Bean. And I'm going to very much miss that when the time comes. But that is life, and all the chicks eventually are supposed to fly the coop. So this mama hen will just have to let go. Now, my husband, when he was in the Army, he worked aviation. The first year after he retired, he actually ended up doing an overseas contract for a job for a while, for a year, because as he was retiring, there was a job freeze for government, and a position that had been basically waiting for his retirement to come was not available. And so he took a contract job overseas for a year. So the first year on the homestead, it was just me there in Alabama. We had purchased a property that had a house and a shed and a bunch of land, and took that blank slate and turned it into a beautiful, thriving homestead over the course of 7 years that we lived there. That first year, of course, it was just me building all the things, which I love to do. Something that you'll learn about me is I'm a little handy, and I love to build things. Are we going to have a standoff here? I've built chicken coops. I've built animal shelters, gardens, just all the things. I'm pretty handy, and I love to use the power tools. Mr. Smith has the wrenches and all that. I've got the saws and the drills and all those things. My dad joked one time that it's probably in my blood, because my grandfather was a carpenter, and when I was a little girl, my father was kind of handy too when I was young, and he would build things down in his little basement workshop. And he would keep me busy and occupied by giving me scraps of wood with nails and a hammer, and I would pound nails into the wood and pull them out and pound them in and pull them out, and that's how I kept busy. It was my fun little thing to do so I wouldn't be under my dad's feet. except for when he was having me hold the wood for him to cut with a handsaw. You are not going to peck at my coffee. Go on, girl. This is one of our younger hens. Very adventurous. Hello. Hello. She's a Rhode Island Red. Hi, girl. And very curious. Of course, we do have chickens, about 31 hens altogether, and 4 roosters at the moment. 2 of them will be going away before too long, heading off to freezer camp. So, as you can guess, here on Cosmopolitan Cornbread, there is homesteading taking place, and things that you'll see like building chicken coops and gardening and all the things. And of course, with a name like Cosmopolitan Cornbread, you can expect to be heading on into the homestead kitchen, where I bring you in to bake bread, to can up all the things that you grow in the garden, whether it is zucchini bread jam or salsa or sloppy joes for quick and easy meals, and all of the things. So if you want to know the story of how Cosmopolitan Cornbread actually became called Cosmopolitan Cornbread, I do have a video where I share that story of how I got started with YouTube, but originally with blogging. I do have a website, cosmopolitancornbread.com, where there's over 800 recipes. I do a lot of writing. I've written for magazines, several magazines. I've been published in lots of newspapers. I was even a columnist in a newspaper for a little while. I've written a regional restaurant guide, and just all sorts of things. But I've always had a passion for teaching, and I love to cook and to bake. And so my style of videos that you will see here are often a teaching style. Sometimes they're just entertaining and cinematic, because it's my artistic expression as well. But for the most part, what you will see here at Cosmopolitan Cornbread is homesteading, home cooking, and faith. Because I am a Christian, I am a believer in Jesus, or Yeshua, which is the Hebrew name. And my faith is a core part of who I am. And so I do not keep that a secret. I do not omit my faith from my videos. You will often hear me reference the Father. So if you don't like hearing about the creator of the universe from time to time, this probably isn't the channel for you. I am not ashamed of my faith. I don't hide my faith. Like I said, it's part of who I am. It's part of my everyday life. Every morning is started with coffee and the scriptures here for me. Now, as part of the faith that I share here on the channel, on Saturdays, which is Shabbat, I do keep the Sabbath, the seventh-day Sabbath, as described in the Ten Commandments. I also keep the feasts of the Bible and the instructions of the Father to the best of my ability. But every Saturday, I do a live video where I read a portion of the scriptures each week. And on my website, you can find a reading schedule that will take you through the week's reading schedule. And if you stick with it, it'll take you through the entire Bible in a year. Now, in addition to the weekly Bible reading schedule, I also have a couple more reading schedules that are undated, so you can start them any day of the year. And it just takes you in order, and you just check it off as you go. So if you get behind, you just pick up where you left off. And one of them takes you from cover to cover, Genesis 1 all the way through the end of Revelation. The other one takes you through Old Testament and New Testament at the same time. And so there's different options out there. I will periodically have devotional videos that I will do here, or Bible studies. I am not a pastor, I am not a scholar, but I read the Bible a whole lot, and I have for a long time. And being a teacher at heart, I find myself sharing my faith and sharing things that I learn or what I'm studying. I had to move real quick because I could see there was a a flare from the sun going across the camera there. But that is the gist of what you're going to see here at Cosmopolitan Cornbread: homesteading, home cooking, and faith. And I'm very much a what you see is what you get kind of person. I don't believe in putting up pretenses. And I'm very open with my sweet subscribers. So if you would like to know the story of how we ended up moving from our beautiful homestead in Alabama to the just serene mountains of Arkansas, I have a video where I take you through the entire story. It's the one where I actually announced the move that was happening. I will put a link to that in the video description down below. I will also share the link to the video where I shared about my journey of faith, how I started out and how I ended up where I'm at today. And as I mentioned, my son and daughter-in-law and granddaughter live here. I mentioned that she's my elder granddaughter. Not very elder, she's just a toddler, but Mr. Smith and I have 3 children, all grown. Our daughter lives in North Carolina. She moved there several years ago. Our older son is in the Army. He and his wife are stationed currently at Fort Campbell, and they have our younger granddaughter, who is just the cutest little butterbean you've ever seen. And then we've got Willow, who is here. So I'm a grandmother of 2, mother of 3, and carer of many animals. We have 4 cats, we have 4 dogs, all of them rescues. And then of course we have goats, we've got chickens, and we have a miniature donkey and a miniature mule. And we recently added a few ducks here to our mountain homestead. So thank you to all of you who have decided to hit that subscribe button and spend some time with me here at the homestead. I hope you find this a place of refreshment for the soul. And of course, that you find some great recipes. That is it for today, friends. I'm going to head on into the house and get started with the day. Thanks for joining me here for a quick little introduction. My name is Constance from Cosmopolitan Cornbread, and I'll talk to y'all next time.